Good morning, and good morning. How are you? How are you? How was your weekend? Mine was absolutely wonderful. I had such a great time. Everybody treated me so well. It was my birthday on Saturday, and then yesterday being Mother's Day, it was just a great holiday. I just did some of absolutely everything and nothing, because I did have a period where I just sat down and just listened to music outside. That's one of my favorite things to do. It wasn't jazz. Yesterday was a little R&B, which was really good. But I had such a great time. So now it's back to work. But I wanted to show you some flowers that I received. Look at these. These were wonderful. My girlfriend made this bouquet for me, and it's these beautiful, I think they're calla lilies. Don't get me wrong, I don't know what they are. Okay. But anyway, I love them with roses. And she, of course, considers me one of her favorite girlfriends. And I love that. And then at church, they gave us these beautiful bouquets, this small vase of beautiful flowers. So I just had a good, I just had a good start. Everything was just wonderful. I had a great start for this week, and I'm ready to take the week on. I have a few deadlines that I have to make, including I start my last little month here of a little solaceness before I take on the full role of president of our Rotary. So I'm doing that, and so I have some work I have to do after I finish my vlog with you all today. Just putting some information in the system that starts my rain or my fun time, my work time. We'll put it that way, my work time. But good morning and good morning. Excuse me. But anyway, I did find a poem, and I like this poem, and it's called Dream Goals. That's our word for the day. Tonight, this is the time that you see a lot of young people graduating, older people graduating from college. Some people going back and thinking about having a dream that they put off. It was one that was deferred, and then finally they realize that they can do it. They can get it done. And I just saw on TV the other day where somebody, I think they were like 87, and they just got their bachelor's degree. It doesn't matter whatever your goals are. If you want to still continue to keep those goals in what I say, in your watch, and then ultimately in your reach, you got to do it. You have to do it no matter what your stumbles, your falls, your breaks, your hurts, your plunders. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Life goes on. You still have to get up. You still have to figure out what's next. Okay, I know that was a bad turn I made. I know that was a bad thing I did. Doesn't matter, because once it's over, it's over. You got to move on. You have to move on. So I certainly say, do your thing, have a good time in your life, and set some goals. Set some goals for what it is that you want. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have, because there have been programs out there that actually paid full rides for people to get, I would say get going. Didn't even say that they had to stay going, but they could start. And I hooked some people up with that program. It was the money that came from the pandemic, and some people earned several courses in terms of credits, just doing what I suggested that they do. Go and take up, at a community college, get some credits behind you. And they did well. They got good grades, and they're closer to the dream. But you have to keep the dream as something that you're working towards. So what is a dream? Well, it starts off with this. It says that there's this thing. This poem is written by Konab Guman. Conad Guman. And it says, "Good morning, Marian. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you. Filled with love and joy." And it was. Sounds like yours. I know yours was. I know yours was. You'd already talked. We talked, so I know it was. I still didn't get the card, but don't worry about it. My neighbor, I go to my neighbor's house and find out if they got the card, but I didn't get a card. But thank you so much for that sweetness of you. But anyway, this is called Dream Goals by Konab Guman. It says, "Nothing is good or bad but thoughts. Make your dark or bright." It says, "Action unveil thoughts. Action unveil thoughts. Self-believe open those secrets where reach was impossible. Failure never overtake determination. It never will. It's a phase that trains you for big dreams. Shoot to fear with truth. Shoot to fear with truth. And be conqueror. Look at the stars. They are impatiently waiting for you. Go ahead and achieve dream goals." I love this poem. Very simple, simplistically written, but good. You think about it. When you've made a goal, you don't even have to tell anybody else about your goal. It may be your goal that in private people would probably be, "What? Going back to school? What? Gonna get a license in a particular profession, going to learn how to drive trucks over the road, it doesn't matter. It's your goal. So you have to put it into your vision, into your watch, into where you want to go forward with. That to me is what makes it exciting. I think I told you all when I decided I was going to get my doctorate, it's terrible to say, but I did it. I think the people are called, I want to say their name is Jocelyn, but I know that they're the people that give you, where you buy all the regalia from, the robes and the the tams and all the kinds of stuff, whatever you're going to wear, for graduation. And I saw a woman that was in the colors that were for my degree, and I cut her face out of it. Now, she did not look like me. Now, you know what I'm saying? She did not look like me. I look like me. So I had to visualize this to where it became my reality. So every day I would look at me in my mirrors, on my computer, and I would do it on my refrigerator. Anywhere that I had an opportunity to look, I could see that's my goal. That is my goal. Place yourself in something. Find, the picture of somebody doing something that you want to do. Take their face out of it. Okay. little destruction, but whatever. And then impose yourself. Put yourself in there. And all of a sudden, you're starting to see who you want to be. Not who you were, not what you currently are, but where you're going. That's your goal. That's your goal. So today's word is goals. How do we make them? Graduation is upon everybody. In fact, I realized that this coming Sunday at our church is education celebration. We celebrate everyone. If if you're getting a certificate, if you're getting a certification, a license, you're getting your associates, bachelor's, master's, PhD, EDD, doesn't matter. You getting something. We celebrate you. And so I'm always a part of that celebration. So I pull out my robe and all of that stuff and get ready, and then I have to dash it where I lay it down, and then I have to go sing. But it's my dedication to believing what I've done, believing in what I've done, and believing for others what they can do if they decide that they want to be something else. It's all about you. So what are goals? But I'm going to ask you this. Are you stuck? Are you stuck on making goals? Um, I can tell you, do some free writing. Just get a piece of paper and just write, 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 write. Write out all the things you thought about that you wanted to do. Write out the things that you'd like to try. Okay. Because sometimes trying, they find that you're not only good in it, you're great at it. Okay. You're extremely good. I had a friend that didn't know that they could paint. And after they retired, they became an artist. You just never know where your gifts are, especially if you never explore them. Try it. Try out something. Try out something. So goals, what are goals? It says it requires establishing a benchmarks and working to achieve them. It says from step down to step around and then step up. That's what we do. That's what we do when we decide that we're going to be something other than what we currently are doing. Going to add some texture to us. You know, I tell you, I have to be honest with you. I get so distracted because sometimes what I'm currently doing isn't enough. I want to add something else, and I'll pick up some other things. It doesn't even make sense sometimes, but that's how I taught myself a few things that I didn't know. I wanted to learn how to do calligraphy. I taught myself. you know. In my school, they taught us the Palmer method of writing, and it wasn't cursive. So I taught myself cursive writing. And I would see teachers, and they said, "Well, who taught you how to do that?" I said, "I did." And they said, "It's better than what's up on the boards and in books." And I said, "Sometimes you have to make it for yourself. Just trying things, putting it on, making it yours." So anyway, when I break this word down of goals, I start with gravity. I know you probably said, why would you start with gravity? Well, gravity is the force that attracts a body toward the center of the earth. And in this instance, I'm talking about the center of you is attracted to something so much so that it becomes a physical attraction, something that you have to do. Gravity. You're attracted to it. It's pulling you. It says that basically it becomes your physical sense towards your goals. Okay, gravity. And it says it will become your attraction, your downward force. It will become your pull, your weightedness, and your heaviness. I mean, I can sometimes tell you that I've seen things that I really wanted to do so much that I didn't feel right until I did them. Singing, had to do it. Sometimes I just want to sing. In fact, I told somebody that once I finish my my year as president of my Rotary Club, which is coming up, my next thing I want to do is I want to do a musical concert, and which money will be charged, and then I can raise money for some things that I believe in. I'm excited about that, but that's my next. That's my goal, but it's also something that I feel gravity in. I feel like I want to do that. So that's my first official thing that I'm mentioning after what I'm currently coming up to do. I know I'm going to move on. So I'm constantly setting goals, and that's what goals are. Once you reach one goal, you set other goals. And so you keep going. You keep finding what makes you happy and content and in a position to do something. Now my O for goals is organize. You must be organized when you're setting goals. Even if you kind of stumble into something, eventually to get out of it, you're going to have some kind of organization attached to that goal. How am I going to get it? What do I have to do? How much money does it cost? Where can I find it? This training at or whatever I'm going to do. How can I maybe sit under somebody and have be under their proper tutelage? How can I be placed in an apprenticeship type position, learn on the job, whatever it is? So there must be organization. So you have to coordinate with yourself and others how you're going to meet this goal. So to organize says to arrange in a systematic way, especially on a large scale. So if you know it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time to get a degree or some of the other things that you might want to do, you're going to have to set, a system. How am I going to reach this? 1, 2, 3. You number it out. What's next? I just finished that. What's next? How am I going to reach it? And sometimes I'm going to tell you something. You know, things can be thrown in your way, in your path, and they end up making it where there's trouble. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Walk around it, go up under it, go over it, but stay focused. Stay in the realm of I can do this. I can. So anyway, when something is organized, it says it's also well ordered, it's in order, it's orderly, it's neat, it's tidy, and it's planned. That'll just tell you right there. Goals can be met if you're planning for them, if you're getting prepared for them. How do you do that? That means you have to have something that makes sense, that's working forward in your good, no one else's. Because somebody else may tell you, oh, you don't need I remember somebody telling me, oh, all you need to do is just take one course, a semester. No, that meant for me, not for you, but for me, it meant I'd never finish. So I had to change the scale. I had to change how that was going to work for me. So, and I did that. I used to, at one time, I think I took, I'm going to say, I think I took two courses that weren't even on the list. Those were independent. I took 2 independent courses and 4 regular courses. Yes, I was certifiably crazy, but that was my goal. Is that I didn't want it. I didn't want to prolong it. I was organized in how I wanted to do it. The gravity was there for what was holding me down, and that was all in my goals. I had set it. I had set it up for where I'm going. And how could I do that if I didn't make a plan and be organized about it? Okay. My A, when I move on in my word, my A is for angles. What angles do we take when we're going to do certain things? How do we look at this? An angle really talks about it being the space that we're dealing with, usually measured in degrees. How far down do I have to go? How far poor am I? How far? Okay, you see what I'm saying? How many extra hours do I have to work? How many hours do I have to stay up, to get this assignment done by, midnight? Those are angles. Those are how you're going to address something. And it says it's usually measured in degrees between 2 intersecting lines or surfaces at close to the point where they meet. And it says basically it's going to be how you realize what your gradient is, your slant is, your inclination, your geometrical relation. That's how we look at things. We can almost say that there's some mathematical application to what we do, not realizing the importance of how we have to measure our time, our space, our attempts, our how far are we from our goal? That's an angle. How can we get there sooner? Okay, take more courses, do whatever. How can we get there sooner? So that's how we look at going forward, is understanding that we must plan it out. We must be organized about it. We must be, have an angle on how we're going to get there. We must be pulled by it in terms of our gravity. And then we can look at how close we are to meeting the goals that we want to meet. I just realized that when someone reaches such a pinnacle as a degree, a certification, a license that they've been trying to get for a long time, when they reach that has to be exhilarating. That has to be just a wonderful feeling, that if you reach something that you didn't realize that you were going to reach, and it does, it happens. And that's what I feel about those who have gone back to school long after they had been a part of that process, as maybe at much younger age. Doesn't matter the age, once again, you know. When we move on in the word of goals, we want to talk about the leverage. You notice I've used things that people understand: gravity, organize, angles, leverage. How the leverage is used as the maximum advantage. How do we maximize our advantage? Good morning, Erica. How are you, my sweetie? Happy belated Mother's Day to you too. I know you're such a sweet mom. But today, our word is goals and how we set goals, or let me even say reset goals, because sometimes the goal that we have kind of fades with time, and us feeling that we can't accomplish certain things. But I say a goal can be polished, it can be shined up again, it can be seen again, it can be made to be your highlight. So I say so far we had gravity, looking at what's pulling us to our goals; organized, how we have to stay, basically in a position of planning and tidying up and making sure it's neatly heading us where we want to go. And then last, it talks about the angles. How are we basically pointed in the direction that we need to go into? What is our slant? What's our inclination? All of that. We have to know that. And then finally, well, we're now on leverage, and leverage talks about the maximum advantage we have towards reaching our goal. How do we get there? What grip do we have on it? Are we holding it in our heart? Are we holding it in our head? Okay. Are we looking at it like I told you to take your face and put it where somebody else's face was? It looks just like you because it's your face. Put it in there, and they're doing what you want to do. That is a way that's almost like it's recalled to your memory constantly because you're seeing it every time you look at the refrigerator, you look at your computer. I used to have mine hanging on the side of my computer. Doctor, I used to have it. That's how you reach things. You just constantly look at what makes sense for you. What makes sense for you. Okay. Then it talks about what grasp do you have on it. And I think a lot of times when you have a goal, you must grasp how it's going to impact you. How will it, infuse you, excite you, encourage you, show that you not only have belief in yourself, but you believe that you could achieve it. And when you do, that's the reality. That's the reality. That and it becomes your true contact. You can do it. Nobody else did it like you. It doesn't matter what they did. You reached the same goal, or you reached even a higher goal, because that's what we can do. We can reach as many goals as we want. And goals to me are something that's continuous in our lives. You know, I mean, I even had an aunt. I remember talking to her, and she said all she wanted to do before she left this world was make sure that all of her, kids were fine. That's a goal. We may not always, mark it up as a goal, but it is a goal. And she got to do that. And so that's what life is. Life is constantly setting goals. And we do everything in our power to try to meet the goals that we have. And then my S in today for goals, which is the last letter, is scale. How do we measure the scale of what it is that we're working with? It certainly is personal. Nobody else can tell you how you're measuring things. It says a scale is a set of numbers that helps you measure or quantify objects. So we can know how much does this scale weigh. Is it heavier on one side than on the other? Is it balanced? Is it balanced in such a way that it makes sense for you? Okay. If all you do is listen to other people, then that means the scale may be balanced. It may be imbalanced because you may be down and they may be up. So what I say to you is you keep it balanced to the point where you're up and they're down. That's your balance. That's your scale. And that's how we have to sometimes look at our lives, as making sure that we're looking for ourselves We're not listening to others. We're not believing what others say about us. It does not matter what they say. What matters is what you believe, what you do, where you're going, and how it all makes sense. How it all makes sense. And it has to make sense for you. So the scale talks about the extent of this goal or these goals that you have, the proportion. Like I remember at one time I wasn't sleeping. I would literally stay up all night, do all my schoolwork, go to work, do all the work for the government. Never did I let the two meet. Never. I just felt that that wasn't going to be right for me because I had to be minded for one and clear minded for the other. But if I went there and I'm foggy about everything, no. And I don't know that I can truly say that was the Lord that I didn't mix them up and I wasn't, at work sleeping crazy. I might have been crazy, but I wasn't asleep. I was alert. So that for me, it made sense that I kept everything the way I felt it would be the best. So anyway, the scale is also the range in which you give yourself to meet your goals. That's your range. You may say I have 2 years. You may say I have, 6 months to study for an exam. That's a requirement in order to practice in that field. Those are the kinds of things that you look at. That's your scale. It also talks about the ratio and the rate ratio. Like, what is it costing you? Time, money, what? Sleep. Sometimes those things are all affected about our goals that we make. That it talks about the scope. Is it a huge goal that you have? Can it be broken into smaller pieces? Such as each time you take a course, you can check it off. That course is gone. I'm on my way. Another course, that course is gone. I'm on my way. And that's how you have to look at things, because sometimes the whole gets scary. And when we're looking at, man, I don't know if I can, but just leave that as your goal. Leave that as something that's up ahead, and then you work with what I say, the scaling of your up, your way up to the goal. How many courses do I have to take? How many hours do I have to work? Those are your goals. That's how you work it. So anyway, it also talks about the system that you may take. What systems do we have when we're working different things? Sometimes our system may be that we may have a period we don't understand a thing, and then all of a sudden it makes sense to us. All of a sudden, and I think I told you that's how my chemistry class was, and I'm like, I can't pass this. Same thing with statistics, but I took them by themselves. That's how I had to isolate them. I couldn't take them with all the other courses. I had to isolate those courses that I took them all by myself with nothing else being a part of that summer. Those actually I did over 2 summers. That made sense to me. And then I got good grades. But the struggle is in what you decide on how you're going to meet your goal. But if you're given a goal, set it high, meet it, look at it, where you've looked at the gravity of it, how's it pulling you towards it, look at what organization you have to put in place, how organized you must be, how you have to look at it as a plan of action. It says also decide what the angles are. What approach are you going to take? Okay, you're going to take a slow approach. You're going to take a rush hour approach, or you're going to take the scenic route. I'm going to get there. I'm just going to take my time. Okay, or you're going to do fast lane. All those are decisions. Then it talks about the leverage, which really talks about what maximum advantage do I have? Has it gripped me? Is it holding me? Have I really bought into it? And then what's my contact? Contact really says I'm going to work this. I'm going to work this out. And then lastly, the scale. Are you balanced correctly for yourself? Not for others, but what's the balance for you? Is it not just a goal, but it's a goal that you're working on in such a way that it not only makes sense for you, but it's done so that you realize the steps you have to take to reach your highest peak of your goal, which is completion. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. So I'll ask you this morning, are you stuck? You don't have to be. You have to just set out a plan, put your face in it, put your ideas in it, grip it, hold on to it, make sure it's pulling you towards it. Be organized about how your approach is. Look at the angles that you make, because sometimes something in my mouth. Sometimes you have to step to the left or to the right and still go forward. Okay? Just the way it happens. And then look at what the leverage is, how it's holding you, and lastly, the scale, your scale, no one else's scale. So that's the Are You Stuck for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. Great seeing both of you here. I know a few people were going to go away for the holiday, so I hope I hear back from them, and they certainly will be there where they can watch it. You have an awesome day too. Oh, good morning. Enjoyed our time this weekend. I did too, Gloria. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Love all of y'all for coming in and tuning in to Are You Stuck? And I hope to see you all soon. Even if it's not in person, come on back. Oh, hey, Miss Rosie. Happy belated Mother's Day, sweetie. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you guys soon as soon as Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Actually, it's Central Daylight Time. We're back on daylight. Love you guys. Have a great day. Be safe out there. Bye, bye, bye.